So this is what you land on when you're at the main menu. The original screen that you see here, you have the various different links to the various different sections. You can see a full feature demo here. You can download the programmer guide, you can visit our website, you can view this video guide. But then again, you can see the different tutorials also that we have. The demo version only has access to these tutorials. And you can download the tutorial guide if you want to be able to sort of like understand how to work around the tutorial so that you can just understand how the game works. We'll sort of like dive into this in a bit more later on. And then the walls and levels, this is disabled in the demo version, but these are the various different walls and levels inside these walls. Each of them has a different theme to them. Let me show you from the tutorials basically how the game is structured. So for instance, you'll find that you need to sort of like program the different cartridges that are in these different stages again to achieve the objective of each and every stage. Some stages will have multiple cartridges. Let me explain what cartridges are. Cartridges are the areas where you store your code. These are chips that are programmable, that you write your code in. Different cartridges will have different capabilities, which will be seen when you look at the information screen on each of these stages. It shows you the commands that it can run, the player modes that it can access, and the elements that it has access to. Some of these cartridges will have multiple elements with multiple different commands that you can run. And these cartridges are programmable. So like when you click on the coding icon, you can have access to the programmer screen, and you can then program the cartridge from there. A bit more on how the coding works in different video altogether. Most of the stages are going to have a playable character known as a robot, and this robot will have access to a separate different type of cartridge. Again, this is not a must for them to have access to this type of cartridge, which is called a robot placeable cartridge. You'll see a place icon instead of a play icon. The place icon allows you to place the cartridge onto the robot so that you can be able to place it onto a computer box. That's a difference. But this robot, you can only be able to play around with it if you play and run the stage like this. If you don't do that, you won't be able to do anything in terms of movement. So that's basically, when you look at like the various different elements of a stage, you're going to see those are the basics. So what are stage puzzles? I'm going to show you. If we open up, for instance, our first puzzle stage here, you're going to see that you have destination boxes of different color. These destination boxes have to be able to contain these plain boxes of the same color. This red plain box needs to go to this destination. You know, that's right here. So this blue one needs to go to this blue destination box. The yellow one needs to go to the yellow destination box. So you need to code this stage to solve this puzzle. This is how the puzzles work. You have to solve these puzzles in order for you to be able to solve the entire stage on its own. So for instance, there's two types of destination boxes. Some destination boxes actually destroy their plain boxes. Some of them don't. So you need to understand how to work around that intelligently. So that's the foundation of what a puzzle is in the actual sense. Let's talk about the different elements inside a stage. We have the main actor, the robot. In this instance, we have a hazard or the enemy. We have a computer box. We can have multiple computer boxes per stage. we have other different elements. Here's a switch attached to a moving platform and a plain box. This plain box is meant to fall onto the switch so that you can activate it and start moving. For you to get information about the properties of each element, you can click on them and you can see the various different properties that are constructive for you when you're doing your coding. So in this case, for instance, we're going to see the switch is attached to the moving platform. It's connected to the moving platform, which is what switches it on. The moving platform has different attributes. It can be powered, for instance. It can also be code active. It cannot be code activated, sorry. It cannot be code positioned. And the fact that it can be powered means that the switch can switch it on. That's what it means. This is a destination. There'll be different types of sort of like puzzles that you'll have to solve. A bit about the puzzles also in a later section. For you to be able to complete the stage, you have to complete various different puzzles within that stage also. And here we have the cartridges that you can program. If you want to understand the control radius of a cartridge, you can click on its cartridge icon. It shows you the control radius of each of them, so you can understand the area in which you can sort of be able to control the cartridge. Here you have the console. The console shows up when you have a code execution error, or you sort of like send something to be printed to the console when you're coding. So that is the foundations of basically how a stage. So how do you code a cartridge? You code a cartridge by opening the toolbar, pressing on the code icon, and adding blocks of code, and being able to select the various elements that you're programming against, and issue different types of commands that will run in sequence. All right. To be able to run these commands, you need to first of all run the stage and then run these commands. You see I've rotated the outlet, the inlet outlet for the computer box there. I can be able to do it more than once. I'll show you again. So if I rotate it 3 times and offer a delay in between the rotations, you can see that I will be able to rotate it 3 times again. So if I run this cartridge, you're going to see that I'm not in run mode, so it won't allow me to run it. So let's hop onto run mode and execute the command. You see it's rotated 3 times. Placeable cartridges work in the same fashion, but these ones have to be carried by the player in order for them to be placed onto the computer box. So for instance, for this one, I'm going to engage the elements that it has access to and program them to have gravity enabled. So for instance, if I now place a cartridge on the player, I need to go place it onto the computer box. So let's see how that works. Yep. So you see now gravity is enabled, and this platform is going to have the ability to come over to this side.